Oh my goodness, guys. Being an Interista and an Azzurri fan right now in this moment of time is not an enjoyable thing. And poor Gennaro Gattuso. Look at his face, guys. Poor guy. He is regretting taking this job. He said this is, one of the things he's most proud of in his life, being the head coach of the Italian national team. But the way that these players made him and us suffer today, you're 4-2 up. 4-2 up, and you almost let it slip. It went to 4-4. It looked like it was another wasted opportunity for Italy because they have to win if they have any chance of keeping up with Norway. But in the end, thanks to a lucky Tonali goal at the end, or a little bit lucky, we got the job done, and at least things stay alive now. Italy just needs to keep doing this, keep winning, try to keep increasing the goal difference, which today didn't work out, and then try to beat Norway when the head-to-head match, the return head-to-head match, comes back. But yeah, man, we're here to, as usual, try to react to this Italy national team performance. Of course, I'm mainly focused on Inter content, but I also cover the Azzurri, so make sure you leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're new. But yeah, I waited to do my reaction to Gattuso's Italy because I don't think Estonia was the right game to really react to straight away. I saw a lot of people, quite rightly, we're starving as Azzurri fans for content and for positivity. But, I think regardless of who was the Italy coach, Spalletti, Mancini, Ventura, they would have beaten this Estonia team. Maybe it would have been 1-0 or 2-0, something more struggling. The positive was definitely the new manager bounce. You could see that in the Estonia game. We created so many chances, so many shots. And at least Gattuso tried something different, an old school 4-4-2 kind of with Retegui and Moiskin. And I think, in the past when Italy won things, or recently at the Euros, we built the team around the best players. So it was Bonucci, Chiellini at the back, the duo, Donnarumma, that spine, plus the midfield, which at that time was world class. Jorginho at the time was still top player. Verratti for sure, top player. Barella, top player. And then, the other positions we know, the wingers and the striker, and then Chiesa had an amazing tournament. Right now, Italy don't really have that. We have good centre backs. I mean, you could say Bastoni is a top centre back, Calafiori as well, but it's not really, we don't really know what their partnership is like, whether they're really complementary. I think both of them are too similar to each other really for long term. I don't really see them building a long term partnership, especially in the two. And then we know Di Marco just doesn't play to the level that he does for Inter. Well, I mean, he doesn't been playing that good for Italy anyway. For Inter anyway. So for Italy, it's not particularly that great. Barella, there's nowhere near the level that he plays for Inter as well for Italy. So Retegui and Moise Kean, I think it makes sense to try and build the build from the front, this Italy team, which is funny. Just literally a year ago, we were saying that we don't have strikers anymore, and then Retegui had his amazing season last season, great improvement, and Moise Kean exploded last season. So now actually we've got two great strikers, and everywhere else we're like, oh, I mean, Tonali, I think, is now one guy that we can say that continues to consistently play well for Italy. So I think it makes sense to have this kind of base for Gattuso of Retegui, Kean, and then because we need to score goals, I think it makes sense for him to play two wingers as well, just to just get more attacking players. It doesn't matter with Italy right now to have balance, to have any type of too much thinking about defensive. We need to get goal difference. We need to get wins, and we're on paper superior to all the other teams. I think we should be superior to Norway as well, but we'll see about that when we get there. So it makes sense what Gattuso tried to build there. But even then, like when you actually look at the kind of average positions, it ends up being like a three at the back anyway. So it seems Bastoni almost playing as a centre back. Calafiori is the one that was allowed to roam up and down. Di Lorenzo tucks in a bit more, and then Di Marco is allowed to be basically a wing back like at Inter. So it's really, you can see here it does become like a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3 anyway in play. But just when they're defending, it's a little bit more of a old school 4-4-2, 4-4-1-1 type of block. And we saw that today as well. in this game. Moise Keane with the 2 goals. Oh no, actually, this is not the stats from today, is it? Doesn't look like stats from today. Oh yeah, no, it is. Yeah, 3 GA from Retegui, 2 goals from Moise Keane, 1 from Politano, 1 from Tonali at the end, and 2 own goals, 1 from Locatelli and 1 from Bastoni. Both of them are unlucky, but my goodness, they made us suffer. And yeah, this was the proper test. That's why I waited to react to Gattuso's Italy, because this team was going to be the real test for them. We had much less possession, much less control of the game. It was difficult for the boys out there today. Let's see what the average positions today was much more of a four back. Yeah, you can see here Bastoni, Di Marco, Mancini opted instead of Calafiori. So I don't know if Calafiori had some injury issue. We know he's been kind of injury prone the last couple of seasons, or maybe I think Gattuso sees that with Israel being a little. We know we were going to be on the front for the whole game, for the Estonia game. I think it just makes sense, as I said, for the future of the Italian national team. Either you put Calafiori as the left back, which I think could be good. You have Calafiori. You could all have him play the role that he plays for Arsenal as a left back, where he's kind of inverting into midfield. Definitely a lot more defensively solid than Di Marco. And then you can have definitely not a Tonali out there, but maybe like a proper winger there, like a Zaccagni or an Orsolini to be a touchline winger. And yeah, definitely the midfield of Barella, Tonali, and Locatelli is quite solid. Although I don't know if Locatelli still is starter material at the moment for Italy. But again, yeah, Retegui, Moise Keane being the duo to really try to build off. And you've got Pio Esposito as well in terms of strikers that we're talking about. And Raspadori, I mean, if you saw, there's a funny stat these days that's been posted the last couple of days. Raspadori has more goals than Francesco Totti, which some people use it as to show the downfall of Italy, or some people use it to make fun of Totti, but it's different eras. You play a lot more games these days. But Raspadori is one example of a player that plays better for the Italian national team than he did for Napoli. And at the moment, I've not heard very good things about his time at Atletico Madrid, which is very early days. But always seems to make an impact, whether as a starter or as a substitute. But yeah, this is what Gattuso has to work with. There's no magic wand that he can wave. Orsolini, the guy that a lot of people use as like a beating stick on Spalletti, which I think he should have called up. But it's Orsolini at the end of the day, guys. Like, he had an absolute stinker when he came on, gave the ball away really stupidly 2 or 3 times. And he just kept inviting pressure and inviting Israel on. And in the end, there was a lot of tension at the end of the game. And Gattuso is the last coach that you want when there's tension building. I mean, you coaches usually try to, reduce the pressure and the tension between the two teams. But Gattuso was actually I think he told this guy to F off in the end. But maybe this is the thing with Gattuso. He adds this grinta, adds this extra panache to play for Italy, which is definitely these players need, because we definitely seem to miss down the Spalletti and then the Mancini, the last period of Mancini. But sometimes it's kind of maybe it's too much. Maybe these guys exert themselves too much, because at the end there seemed to be no organization. They just kept giving the ball away. The ball kept coming back. These are experienced guys, even Di Marco himself, went up for a counter-attack, tried to cross it for some reason rather than, keep recycling the ball, and gave it to them. There was a counter-attack. Orsolini tried to switch a play for no reason, gave the ball to them. Just really, really sloppy, stupid things that had Gattuso like this. His hair is definitely going to go all grey and white by the end of this tenure, however long it's going to be. Maybe he's going to start losing hair. He's got a strong hairline still, but these boys are going to challenge it. But that's all we have, man. That's the raw material that Gattuso has to play with. There's no magic wand that he can wave. As usual, Frattesi as well is the one that always seems to have a good impact for Italy compared to what he does for his club. I was surprised that he chose to bring on Maldini instead of Pio Esposito, not because I'm an Inter fan, but because I think Pio Esposito would be better at holding up the ball, being proper old school back to goal type of player. I would like to see Rovella being tested out as, if you're going to play a 3 midfield formation, have Rovella as kind of the sitter with Tonali and Barella next to him. But apart from that, as I said, there's not much you can say to Gattuso. But yeah, Italy just needs to keep winning. And as I said, I don't really care about too much style of play or Gattuso trying to implement anything. Let's get the job done. Let's try to get to the World Cup as quickly and as smoothly as we can. But clearly, it's not going to be a smooth ride. And then from then, Gattuso can start planning and try to properly, get to some sort of playing style and idea. That usually Gattuso is more of a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1 guy from his time. When I remember from his time at Milan, Napoli, etc. I wasn't too familiar with his time at Valencia, and then when he went to Croatia. So it'll be interesting to see, because he's usually a one striker with wingers type of guy. But now with Moise Kean and Retegui in the form that they are, it just makes sense to go this way. But yeah, you guys let me know in the comments down below. What did you make of this Gattuso initial tenure? I'm happy that he got the job. There's not too much else there available. We should have gone for Ancelotti, but yeah, international level, you don't need to be too tactical. You don't need to be revolutionizing the game. You just need to put the best players out there, put them in the best position possible for them, make sure they're in the right positions to excel. And then at the end of the day, the quality should prevail. And that's that. Thank you for watching, guys. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Ciao, ragazzi, and forza azzurri.